The market street was alive with noise, full of voices, footsteps, and the sound of wheels rolling on the old stone road. Merchants shouted prices, children laughed and ran between stalls, and the smell of cooked food mixed with the sharp scent of metal. It was an ordinary day in the colony town, or at least it seemed that way until something strange happened. A heavy wagon moved slowly through the crowd. It was larger than most, pulled by two strong work animals with glowing harness lights. The wagon carried boxes, jars, and covered crates. People stepped aside as it passed, curious about what was hidden under the thick metal sheets tied on the back. The driver, a merchant with a thin beard and sharp eyes, looked nervous. His hands tightened on the reins as if he feared someone might attack his wagon. No one knew what kind of goods he was carrying, but whispers moved through the market like smoke in the wind. Some said he dealt in rare machines, others believed he carried smuggled alien tech. The truth was darker, but the crowd did not know it yet. The road sloped downward near the well. The wagon jolted as one wheel hit a broken stone. The merchant cursed and pulled the reins. For a moment everything shook. Boxes sliding, chains clattering, and then something rolled off the back. It hit the ground with a loud metallic clang. People turned their heads. It was not a box, not a crate. It was a capsule, round and silver, no bigger than a barrel, glowing faintly with strange blue lines across its surface. The merchant did not notice. His wagon moved on, swallowed by the crowd. But the capsule stayed behind, lying in the dust, humming softly. Children were the first to run toward it. They laughed, thinking it was a toy or some kind of treasure. "Look, it shines," one boy shouted, touching the surface. The capsule vibrated, almost alive, and the blue lines brightened under his fingers. The boy pulled back, startled. The humming grew louder. Adults rushed forward now, forming a circle around the capsule. Some warned the children to step back. A woman muttered, "It could be dangerous." An old man whispered, "That is no machine from this colony. That is alien work." Fear mixed with curiosity. No one wanted to touch it again, yet no one could walk away. The capsule seemed to be waiting, breathing, alive. Then, without warning, a sharp crack echoed. A thin line appeared across the capsule's surface. Gas hissed out, white and cold. People stepped back, some shouting, some covering their faces. The crack widened with a screech of metal. Dust and smoke rose, and then the capsule opened. Everyone froze. Inside was not a weapon, not a machine. Inside was a girl. She was small, no older than 14 by human eyes, but her body was different. Her skin glowed faintly silver, marked with soft blue patterns that pulsed like veins of light. Her hair floated as if touched by invisible wind, strands shining like threads of glass. Her eyes were closed, her chest rising and falling slowly as if she were asleep. She looked fragile, lost, and impossibly strange. The crowd gasped. A murmur spread quickly. "It's an alien child." "No, it's a trick. She's dangerous." Fear spread faster than the truth. One man stepped forward with a stick, ready to push the capsule away. But then the girl's eyes opened. Her eyes were bright, glowing like twin moons, deep with colors no human had ever seen. She blinked once slowly, and the crowd fell silent. For a long moment, no one breathed. The girl looked at the humans around her, confused, afraid, yet also pleading. Her lips moved. A sound came out, soft and broken. At first it made no sense, like music without words. Then the crowd realized she was speaking. "Help. Me." The word was small, almost a whisper, but it carried through the market. People stepped back as if struck. No one expected an alien child to speak their language, even in such broken form. The old man crossed himself, muttering about curses. A woman pulled her child away, her face pale with terror. But still the girl's glowing eyes searched the faces around her. She looked weak, trembling, but her voice tried again. "Please, help." No one moved. Fear chained their feet. Suspicion poisoned their thoughts. Was she a trap, a spy, a weapon in the form of a child? The capsule hissed again, blue light flashing across its frame, and everyone thought it might explode. The crowd began to panic. Then through the fear, one boy stepped forward. He was no older than 16, a farmer's son who had come to sell vegetables in the market. His clothes were plain, his hands rough, but his eyes were steady. While others feared, he saw something else. He saw a child in need. He pushed past the frightened crowd and stood near the capsule. His friends tried to stop him, but he shook his head. The alien girl's eyes met his. For a moment, the market disappeared. The noise, the fear, the suspicion all faded. There was only her gaze, shining with desperation, and his courage, simple but strong. He knelt beside her and reached out his hand. "Don't be afraid," he whispered. "I'll help you." The crowd gasped. Some shouted warnings. Others whispered that he was mad. But before anything more could happen, the sound of boots thundered from the street beyond. Soldiers were coming. The merchant had noticed his missing cargo, and now the hunt for the alien girl was about to begin. The sound of boots grew louder, echoing against the stone walls of the market street. The boy's heart pounded. He could already see armored soldiers pushing through the crowd, their rifles gleaming under the pale sun. The people quickly moved aside, whispering in fear. Some pointed toward the capsule, eager to show the soldiers what had fallen. Others pulled their children close, afraid of what was about to happen. The boy looked back at the girl. She was still inside the half-open capsule, her body weak, her glowing skin fading with every second. Her strange eyes blinked slowly, as if she could hardly keep them open. He whispered, "Stay awake. Don't close your eyes." Her lips trembled. A faint sound came out, broken but clear enough for him to understand. Cold, hungry, scared. The boy's chest tightened. She did not sound like a monster. She did not sound like a weapon. She sounded like a lost child. The soldiers marched closer, their leader shouting, "Step back. That capsule is military property." His voice was sharp, full of command, and no one dared argue. The crowd moved away, but they did not leave. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. The boy glanced around. He could run now, but fear froze his legs. He could leave her, but her glowing eyes held him still. In that gaze he saw trust given to him, a stranger. For reasons he could not explain, he felt he could not break that trust. The capsule gave another sharp hiss, and the girl coughed weakly. Her small hands gripped the edge of the capsule, trying to pull herself out. The boy quickly helped her, lifting her gently as if she were fragile glass. The moment he touched her, he felt warmth spread through his skin, not burning, but alive, like a pulse of energy. The girl whispered, "Don't let them take me." The boy swallowed hard, his throat dry. "I won't." But even as he spoke, the soldiers arrived. Their heavy boots slammed into the ground, forming a circle around him and the girl. The leader, a tall man with a scar across his face, raised his weapon. His cold eyes stared at the glowing child. "That thing is not human," he said. "Step aside, boy. Hand her over." The crowd held its breath. Some nodded in agreement with the soldier, afraid of the unknown. Others shook their heads, thinking of the girl's fragile voice, her weak cry for help. The boy's hands tightened around her shoulders. His fear burned, but so did his courage. "She's not a thing," he said, his voice trembling but clear. "She's a child," the scarred soldier sneered. "A child? That is alien blood, dangerous, poison. We take it to the commander. Now move before you share its fate." The boy shook his head. He felt the alien girl lean against him, weak but alive, her glowing eyes looking at him with silent fear. For a moment, time slowed. He knew he had only one chance. The girl's body trembled. Then something strange happened. The blue lines on her skin brightened suddenly. Her eyes glowed brighter than before, like stars about to explode. A wave of invisible energy rippled out of her body. The soldiers' rifles sparked, their lights flickering, and the engines of nearby machines died with a sharp whine. The crowd gasped. Someone screamed. The soldiers stumbled back, shocked by the sudden pulse. Their weapons refused to fire, their systems dead. The scarred leader shouted, "What is this?" The boy did not understand either, but he felt the energy pass through him without harm. It was as if the girl's power chose who to touch, who to hurt, and who to spare. He looked down at her. She was breathing harder, her strength fading. The power had cost her dearly. This was his chance. Without thinking, the boy grabbed her hand and ran. He pushed through the gap in the soldiers' circle, shoving past their confused forms. The crowd parted in shock as the boy dragged the glowing child into the maze of side streets. Behind him, the scarred soldier roared, "After them! Don't let them escape!" The chase began. The boy's heart thundered as he sprinted down narrow alleys, carrying the girl as best as he could. She was light but weak, her head resting against his shoulder. He could hear boots pounding behind him, soldiers shouting orders, their voices echoing against the stone walls. He darted into a small street filled with laundry lines and overturned carts. The smell of smoke and food clung to the air. He turned corners sharply, leaping over barrels, slipping through gaps. The girl whispered in his ear, her voice almost gone. "Safe. Must find safe place." "Where?" The boy whispered back out of breath. She shook her head weakly. Hide, please. The boy spotted an old storage shed near the edge of the market. Its door hung broken, shadows covering the inside. Without a second thought, he slipped in, pulling the door shut behind them. He crouched down, holding her close, trying to silence his breathing. The sound of soldiers grew louder, then passed by, their boots pounding in another direction. For a moment, silence returned. The boy let out a shaky breath, sweat dripping from his forehead. The girl looked at him, her glowing eyes dim but steady. She whispered again, her words fragile but heavy with meaning. They hunt me because of what I carry. The boy frowned. What do you mean?
What are you?
Her eyes closed for a moment, then opened again, glowing faintly in the dark. Not what? Who? I am. I carry a secret. A secret humans must not have. The boy felt a chill run down his spine. Soldiers were searching outside. The girl's power had already shown she was no ordinary alien. Whatever secret she carried was worth an army chasing her. And now, he had chosen to protect her. In the darkness of that shed, with danger all around, the boy realized his life had changed forever. He was no longer just a farmer's son. He was now the protector of a girl who might change the fate of humans and aliens alike, and the soldiers were not going to stop. The city was alive with noise, but to the boy it sounded different now. Every shout, every footstep, every clatter of metal seemed like a warning. Somewhere behind him, soldiers searched with angry voices, their boots hitting the stone roads like war drums. The boy held the alien girl's hand tightly, pulling her through the narrow back streets. She stumbled but did not let go. Shadows stretched across the walls as the sun lowered. Merchants closed their stalls early, frightened by the soldiers storming the marketplace. The people whispered, wondering who the strange glowing child was and why the army wanted her so badly. But no one stepped forward to help. Fear was stronger than kindness. The boy's chest burned as he ran. He had never been in so much danger. His legs wanted to stop, but the girl's weak voice kept him moving. They will find us, she whispered, her glowing eyes half closed. Not if we keep running, the boy said. He was not sure if he believed it, but he had to sound brave for her. They turned a corner and entered a maze of old stone buildings. The streets here were tighter, darker, with clotheslines hanging above and broken carts left in the way. The boy knew these paths better than the soldiers. If he was fast, he could lose them, but the soldiers were trained. Their voices echoed from every side. Search the alleys. Don't let them escape. The girl's knees buckled and she nearly fell. The boy caught her. Her skin glowed faintly under his touch, but her strength was fading. He carried her in his arms now, though his body shook from the weight and fear. They ducked into an abandoned courtyard. The boy crouched behind a broken fountain, trying to catch his breath. His heart raced, his ears straining for footsteps. The girl looked at him, her face pale, but her eyes bright with strange light. You should leave me, she whispered. If they catch you, they will kill you. The boy shook his head. I won't leave you. I promised. Her lips trembled. Why? I am not human. Because you asked for help, he said simply, and no one else listened. For a moment, silence hung between them. Then the sound of boots returned, closer than before. The boy's stomach twisted. He had to move again. He ran toward the edge of the courtyard, slipping through a crack in the wall. The soldiers' voices grew louder behind him. He could hear the scarred leader shouting orders. They are close. Block the streets! The boy dashed through a fruit market, knocking over baskets of apples and oranges. The stall-keeper shouted angrily, but then froze when he saw the glowing girl in the boy's arms. People gasped, pointing, whispering, fear spreading like fire. There she is. A soldier roared. The boy pushed forward, weaving through the crowd. The alien girl clung to him, her glowing eyes darting around in panic. Suddenly her body pulsed again, a faint ripple of energy spreading out. The street lamps flickered, carts shook, and the soldiers' rifles sparked uselessly. The people screamed, rushing away in terror. The boy used the chaos to slip into another alley. He pressed his back to the wall, gasping for air. His body shook from exhaustion, but he forced himself to keep moving. The girl looked up at him. They won't stop. They want what is inside me, what is inside you, the boy asked. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Knowledge, power, something your leaders dream of. The boy did not understand, but her words made him shiver. If she was right, the soldiers would never stop chasing them. Suddenly a door creaked nearby. An old woman leaned out from a shadowy house. Her eyes were sharp but not cruel. "In here," she hissed. "Quick, before they see you." The boy hesitated, but the soldiers' voices were growing louder. He slipped inside with the girl. The woman shut the door silently, leading them into a dark kitchen. "You're fools to run from the army," she whispered, her voice low. "But I see the truth in that child's eyes. She is not what they say. Stay here. Rest for a moment." The boy lowered the girl onto a bench. She sighed with relief, closing her eyes. For the first time since the capsule opened, she seemed safe. But the peace did not last. The sound of boots rattled outside. The soldiers were searching house by house. The boy clenched his fists. He could not stay here long. He looked at the girl, who was breathing softly, her glow dimmer now. She had trusted him. He had chosen her. And that choice meant he would fight, even if the whole city turned against him. The old woman handed him a cloak. "Cover her glow," she said. "It will hide her from the soldiers' eyes." The boy wrapped the cloak around the girl carefully. She opened her eyes, weak but grateful. "You saved me again," she whispered. He shook his head. "No, I'm just trying to keep you alive." Outside, the scarred soldier's voice thundered. "Search every door. They cannot hide forever." The boy's jaw tightened. He knew the chase was not over. This was only the beginning. If he wanted to save her, he would have to do more than run. He would have to outsmart an entire army. He looked at the girl, then at the old woman, then at the dark streets beyond the window. His next move would decide everything, and somewhere deep inside, he felt it. The city itself was holding its breath, waiting for what would happen next. The night was heavy over the city, the streets glowing faintly under weak lamps, the sound of soldiers echoing in the distance. The boy sat in the corner of the old woman's kitchen, his back against the wall, his chest rising and falling as he caught his breath. Across from him, the alien girl rested on a bench covered in the cloak the old woman had given. Her glow was hidden, but faint blue light still leaked through as if her body could not stop shining. The old woman stood by the window, peering through a crack in the shutter. She whispered, "They search every street. You don't have long. When the sun rises, they will send more. They always do." The boy's stomach twisted. He wanted to believe they could hide, but the woman was right. The soldiers would never stop. He looked at the girl. She seemed smaller now, weak, trembling with each breath. Yet her glowing eyes still burned with something strange, something powerful. Finally, the boy asked the question that had haunted him since the capsule opened. "Who are you? Why do they want you so badly?" The girl was silent for a moment. Then she opened her eyes. Her voice was soft, but every word carried weight. "I am not just a child. I am the daughter of my people's last leader. I was hidden away during the war, placed in the capsule so the enemy would not find me." The boy stared at her, his heart pounding. "You mean, you're a princess?" Her lips curved slightly, not in pride, but in sadness. "Yes, but not the kind of princess from human stories. My people do not live in castles. We live in stars. My father ruled not with crowns, but with wisdom. And before he died, he placed something inside me." The boy leaned closer, whispering, "What did he place in you?" The girl lowered her head. "Knowledge. Ancient knowledge. A map of power. If the humans take me, they will find it. They will use it. And with that, they can destroy whole worlds." The boy felt his blood turn cold. He thought of the scarred soldier, the merchant, the commander waiting somewhere in the city. If what she said was true, she was not just a child on the run. She was the key to a weapon beyond anything humans had ever seen. "But why me?" the boy asked. "Why did you trust me?" Her glowing eyes met his. "Because when I asked for help, you did not turn away. Power means nothing if no one shows kindness. My father told me once, kindness is stronger than armies." The boy felt his throat tighten. He was only a farmer's son. He had no weapons, no soldiers, no plan. And yet this alien princess had chosen him. Before he could speak again, the sound of boots returned, louder this time. The old woman cursed under her breath. "They've come to search this street." She turned to the boy. "If you stay here, you'll all be caught. You must move." The girl tried to stand, but her legs shook. The boy quickly helped her up, wrapping the cloak tighter around her. The old woman opened a back door, pointing toward a narrow passage. "This leads to the ruins. No soldier dare search there at night. Too many shadows. Too many ghosts. Go." The boy hesitated. "Why are you helping us?" The old woman's eyes softened. "Because once long ago I had a daughter too. Go, boy." Don't waste time. The boy nodded, his chest tight with emotion. He helped the girl into the passage, the door closing behind them with a soft click. The alley was silent, lit only by the moon. The ruins were not far, broken towers and crumbled walls from the first days of the colony. They moved slowly, the girl leaning on him for strength. As they walked, the boy whispered, "If they want the knowledge inside you, why not hide it somewhere else?"
Why carry it inside you?
The girl looked at him, her face pale but her eyes steady. Because it must live. Knowledge kept in books can burn, knowledge kept in machines can break, but knowledge carried in a living heart can survive anything. That is why my father gave it to me. I am not just a child. I am a vessel. The boy shivered at her words. He looked up at the broken towers. Then we have to keep you safe. No matter what. The ruins loomed ahead, tall shadows under the moon. The air felt colder here, the silence heavy. The boy guided her through broken arches and fallen stones. But as they entered, he felt the hairs on his neck rise. Someone else was there. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. It was not a soldier. It was the merchant, the same man who had lost the capsule. His thin beard twisted into a smile. So this is where you've been hiding. The boy's heart sank, the merchant's eyes glittered. Do you know how much the commander will pay me when I deliver her back? Enough to buy 10 cities. Hand her over, boy, and I might let you live. The girl clutched the boy's arm, whispering, "Betrayal." The boy's jaw tightened. He stepped in front of her, shielding her with his body. "I won't let you take her." The merchant chuckled darkly. "You, a farmer's son? Against soldiers, against power, against me?" He whistled, and from behind the ruins more shadows moved. Bounty hunters armed and ready. The girl's glow brightened slightly, her energy flaring despite her weakness. She whispered to the boy, "If they take me, the war begins. If you protect me, the world changes." The boy's heart pounded, but his decision was already made. He tightened his grip on her hand, his eyes burning with courage. Then we fight. And in that ruined place, with the moon watching above, the true battle for her secret began. The ruins were silent except for the whisper of the cold night wind. The boy stood with the alien girl behind him, his heart pounding like a drum. Before them, the merchant smiled, his thin face full of greed, and behind him the bounty hunter stepped out of the shadows. Their weapons gleamed under the moonlight, and their eyes burned with hunger for reward. The boy felt his throat tighten. He had no sword, no gun, no armor. He had only his hands, his courage, and the trust of the alien girl. Yet he refused to move. The merchant's voice was smooth, like poison. "You think you are her protector? You are nothing but a foolish boy. Hand her over, and perhaps I will let you walk away." The boy clenched his fists. "She is not yours to sell." The merchant's eyes flashed with anger. "She belongs to whoever can keep her. That is the way of this world. And I will keep her for the commander. Her blood is worth more than gold." The alien girl trembled, her glowing eyes fixed on the merchant. She whispered softly, "I feel his lies. His heart is full of shadows." The boy stepped forward, his voice louder now. "You will not take her." The bounty hunters laughed, the sound cruel and sharp. One raised his weapon ready to fire. But before he could, the girl's body pulsed with faint blue light. A wave of energy spread out, crackling through the ruins. The hunters staggered as their weapons sparked and died, but the energy drained her quickly. She fell weak against the boy's shoulder, her light dimming. The boy held her up, his teeth clenched. He knew she could not do this again. Not without hurting herself, the merchant snarled. "You think tricks of light will stop me? I came prepared." From his cloak, he pulled out a small device glowing red. The girl gasped. "Nullifier." The boy frowned. "What is that?" The girl's voice was faint. "It kills my light. If he uses it, I will have no power left." The boy's blood ran cold. The merchant raised the device, his greedy smile widening. "This will end your little game." Just then, from behind the ruins, a shout rang out. Soldiers. The scarred leader had arrived with his men. Their boots shook the ground, their weapons aimed at the boy and the girl. The merchant cursed under his breath. "No, they came too soon." The scarred soldier strode forward, his cold eyes fixed on the girl. "The capsule is ours. Stand aside, merchant, or you'll die with them." The merchant's face twisted with rage. "No, she is mine to sell." The boy's heart pounded. Soldiers on one side, bounty hunters on the other. The merchant between them, and he and the girl trapped in the middle. There was no escape. The alien girl clutched his arm. They fight for greed. They fight for power. You must choose now, trust or betrayal. Before the boy could answer, the merchant made his move. He lunged forward, slamming the red device on the ground. It exploded with a dull flash. The girl cried out in pain, her body trembling as her glow faded. Her energy drained like water spilling from a broken jar. The boy caught her as she collapsed. Her skin was pale, her light gone, her eyes weak. She whispered, "I cannot fight." The merchant laughed, but his laugh was cut short by the scarred soldier's rifle. "You fool," the soldier growled. "You think you could bargain with us? You will die like the rest." The bounty hunter scattered, afraid of the soldier's guns. The merchant stumbled back, his greed turning into fear. The boy looked down at the girl in his arms. She was still breathing, but barely. Something inside him hardened. He could not run anymore. He could not hide. If he betrayed her now, she would be taken, her secret torn from her, her people's last hope destroyed. But if he stayed, he would face an army. The scarred soldier raised his hand. "Take the child. Kill the boy if he resists." The soldiers moved forward, their boots crushing the broken stones. The boy's mind raced. He had no plan, but he knew one thing. He would not let them take her. He pulled her cloak tighter, lifted her into his arms, and whispered, "Hold on. I won't leave you." The girl opened her glowing eyes just enough to whisper one word. "Run!" The boy spun, dashing deeper into the ruins. Gunfire exploded behind him, bullets smashing into stone, sparks flying. Dust filled the air. He ducked under fallen walls, leapt over broken beams, the girl's weak body pressed against his chest. But as he ran, he realized the truth. There was nowhere left to hide. The soldiers had surrounded the ruins. Every path was blocked. The merchant, crawling on the ground, laughed bitterly. "Nowhere to go, boy. Nowhere to hide. You will lose her, and I will still get my reward." The boy glared at him. "No. You will get nothing." He turned, facing the soldiers head on, his body trembling but his heart burning with fire. He had no weapons, no power, but he had courage. He placed the girl gently on the ground, then stood in front of her, arms spread wide. "If you want her," he shouted, his voice echoing through the ruins, "you will have to go through me." The scarred soldier raised his rifle. His lips curled into a cruel smile. "Then you will die first." The alien girl, weak but still alive, whispered from behind him, her voice faint but filled with unshakable truth. "Kindness is stronger than armies. Remember that." And in that moment, even as danger closed in, the boy felt something awaken inside him, something stronger than fear. The betrayal had already happened. Now came the fight that would decide their fate. The ruins shook with gunfire, stone walls cracking, dust raining down. The boy stood in front of the alien girl, his arms spread wide, his body trembling but his spirit unbroken. Soldiers in black armor closed in from every side, their rifles glowing with deadly light. The scarred leader's cruel smile cut through the smoke. "You are brave," the soldier sneered. "But bravery will not stop bullets." The boy's chest burned with fear, yet his voice did not shake. "If you want her, you'll have to go through me." The alien girl lay weak behind him, her glow almost gone, her breathing shallow. But even now her eyes were open, watching him. In her gaze was trust, fragile yet unshakable. The merchant crawled in the dust, his greed still alive, even as soldiers ignored him. He laughed bitterly. "Foolish boy. Do you think kindness will protect you? The world belongs to power, not mercy." The boy clenched his fists. "Maybe, but tonight power will not win." The scarred leader raised his rifle, ready to fire. The soldiers aimed as one, their red lights painting the boy's chest. For a heartbeat, the world froze. Then a roar filled the air. Not from soldiers. Not from the boy. From the alien girl. Her body blazed with sudden light, brighter than fire, brighter than stars. The ruins lit up as if the sun had returned. The soldiers shielded their eyes, shouting in panic. The boy turned in shock. The girl's small frame trembled, but her voice rang out strong, echoing through the night. "I will not be their prisoner." A wave of pure energy exploded from her, blasting through the ruins. Weapons sparked and died, soldiers thrown backward, walls shattering under the force. The merchant screamed as he was flung into the shadows. The boy shielded his face, the energy rushing past him, but unlike the soldiers, it did not harm him. It wrapped around him like a shield, protecting him, empowering him. He looked at her in awe, but the light dimmed as quickly as it had come. The girl collapsed, her body drained, her glow fading to almost nothing. The boy caught her, his heart pounding. She had given everything she had left. The scarred soldier staggered to his feet. His armor cracked, his weapon useless. His eyes burned with fury. "You will not escape," he snarled. "Not while I still breathe." The boy knew she could not fight again. It was his turn now. He stood tall, placing her gently on the ground, and faced the soldier. He had no weapons, but he had something else, courage and the will to protect. The soldiers circled again, though their rifles were broken. They drew blades instead, metal flashing under the moon. The scarred leader charged, his sword slicing through the air. The boy moved faster than he thought possible. He grabbed a broken piece of stone, raising it just in time. The blade struck sparks, the boy's arms shaking, but he held his ground. The scarred soldier growled, shoving forward. "You are nothing." The boy's voice rose, fierce and clear. "I am enough." With a cry, he shoved back, striking the soldier with the stone. The man stumbled, roaring in rage. The boy swung again, this time hitting his chest, the crack of armor ringing through the ruins. Around them, the other soldiers closed in. The boy's breath came fast, his body aching, but he fought with everything inside him. Each strike, each block, each step was not just for him. It was for the girl behind him, for the promise he had made, for the trust she had given. The fight raged on, dust and sparks flying. The scarred soldier roared, his strength greater, his fury endless, but the boy refused to fall. His eyes burned with fire, his heart with purpose. Then a sound split the sky, a deep hum growing louder, shaking the air. The boy froze for a moment, the scarred soldier pausing too. Everyone turned their eyes upward. A ship. It descended slowly, massive and sleek, glowing with alien light. Its shadow stretched across the ruins. The soldiers stared in shock. The merchant, crawling in fear, whispered, "No, it cannot be." The alien girl opened her eyes weakly. A faint smile touched her lips. "My people," she whispered. The scarred soldier's face twisted with rage. "No, she belongs to us." He charged once more, sword raised high. The boy, fueled by the girl's words, stepped forward. He met the soldier head-on, blocking with his stone, then slamming it into the man's face. The scarred leader fell with a cry, his weapon clattering to the ground. The other soldiers froze, fear creeping into their eyes as the alien ship lowered, beams of light shining down. The boy stood over the fallen leader, his chest heaving, his body shaking with exhaustion, but he did not kneel. He stood tall, protecting the girl behind him until the very end. The alien ship's light bathed the ruins, wrapping the boy and the girl in its glow. A voice calm and powerful echoed from above. "Step back, humans. She is ours." The soldiers hesitated, torn between fear and duty. The merchant whimpered, his dreams of gold turning to dust. The boy looked at the girl. Her eyes glowed faintly again, soft but full of peace. "You kept your promise," she whispered, and though the night was not yet finished, the boy knew he had already won. The final stand had been made. The ruins glowed under the alien ship's light, its shadow stretching across broken walls and fallen stones. The soldiers froze, their weapons useless, their courage fading. Even the scarred leader, lying wounded on the ground, looked up in fear. The merchant crawled backward, his greedy eyes wide with terror. The boy stood with the alien girl behind him, his chest rising and falling, his body aching from the fight. He stared up at the ship, its silver surface shining like liquid metal, its engines humming like thunder. It was unlike anything the humans had ever built. A beam of blue light shone down, warm and steady. It wrapped around the girl, lifting her gently from the ground. She floated upward, her cloak falling away, her skin glowing again as strength returned to her. Her eyes opened, brighter than ever, and for the first time she looked like what she truly was, not just a lost child, but something greater. The boy reached out as she rose, his voice shaking. "Wait, don't leave me." She looked down at him, her glowing eyes soft. "You saved me when no one else would. I will not forget you." The scarred soldier struggled to his knees, shouting with rage. "No, she belongs to us." He raised his broken blade, ready to throw it. Before he could move, a second beam of light struck him, lifting him into the air. He screamed, but the sound was drowned by the hum of the ship. His body twisted, then dropped lifeless to the ground. The soldiers staggered back in horror. The boy swallowed hard, his heart racing. The ship's voice echoed across the ruins, deep and powerful. "You have harmed what is not yours. Leave this place or be destroyed." The soldiers, once fierce, now broke. They fled into the shadows, their boots pounding in fear. The merchant tried to run too, but a beam caught him, freezing him in place. His mouth opened in a silent scream as the ship's voice thundered again. "Greed is a poison. You wish to sell what should never be owned. For this you will face judgment. The merchant vanished in a flash of light, gone without a trace. The ruins fell silent. The boy stared upward, his hands trembling. The girl floated higher, then gently back down, landing softly in front of him. She looked different now, stronger, taller somehow, her glow steady and calm. The boy realized she was no ordinary child. She was royalty, yes, but also something far more. Her people's last hope, a vessel of knowledge. She stepped closer, her eyes meeting his. You were only a farmer's son, but you became my protector, my friend. For that my people honor you. The boy shook his head. I didn't do it for honor. I did it because you asked for help. Her lips curved into a soft smile. And that is why you are different. Humans fear what they do not understand. They chase, they kill, they betray. But you showed kindness, and kindness will change the stars. The ship lowered further, its ramp opening. Figures stepped out, tall, glowing beings with skin like hers, their eyes shining, their robes flowing. They bowed slightly to the girl. One spoke in a voice like music. Princess, we have found you. At last, the boy's eyes widened. Princess. She had told him the truth. She was not just a child, she was the heir of her people, the one who carried the secret knowledge of worlds. She turned back to him, her eyes glowing brighter. I must leave now. My people need me, but I will not forget you. One day when our stars and your stars meet again, I will return. The boy's throat tightened. What about me? What about this city? What if the humans start a war? She stepped closer, placing her glowing hand on his chest. He felt warmth spread through him, not burning, but alive. Her voice was steady. War is always a choice, but so is peace. I cannot promise what your leaders will do. But I promise this, you will always carry a part of me now. The boy looked down. A faint blue glow pulsed on his chest where her hand had touched. It faded quickly, but he felt something inside him change. Strength, light, maybe even a piece of her knowledge. The girl's people guided her onto the ship. The ramp closed, the engines roared, and the ship began to rise. The boy ran forward a few steps, shouting, Wait! She appeared at the window, her glowing eyes watching him. She raised her hand in farewell. He raised his too, his heart heavy yet full. The ship rose higher, its light fading into the night sky until it became a star among stars. Silence returned to the ruins. The boy stood alone, his clothes torn, his body aching, but his spirit burning. The city would speak of this night for years. Some would say it was a lie, a story to scare children. Others would whisper of the glowing girl, the strange ship, the boy who stood against an army, but the boy knew the truth. He had met her. He had saved her. And in return she had given him something greater than power. She had given him hope. As dawn broke, the boy turned back toward the city. Soldiers would come again. Commanders would demand answers, rumors would spread, but none of that mattered. Because somewhere in the stars a princess remembered him, and one day the stars themselves might remember his kindness.